Spleen, and maybe a new shirt because this one is covered in entrails. Yeah! Like that! Who wants to knife fight with me in the audience? Who wants to knife fight with me in the audience?
Bass!
Cowards!
Bass! You sound really constipated. You know, I had a colon cleansing. It was really fantastic. Man, I had so much fecal matter impacted inside of me. It was such a drag.
I tell you what boss says will clean you right out. A nail gun. Bam, bam, bam! And then I grab a circular saw, and then I cut off your arm. Just like it. And I start hitting with a whip.
Switch gears real quick and go.
Remember, if we meet any strangers, kill them! I bet these punks have no capacity whatsoever for peaceful coexistence, drive-through liquor stores, gun shops, or the democratic freedom to have their votes discarded in swamps!
Shit, they better learn how to pray in school!
Oh, give it a rest! They're fucking savages, Dick! Hey, here's one now.
The gods were right! You've come! Welcome to our peaceful land of plenty!
What is he saying? This son of a bitch doesn't even speak American!
Yes, I do. I said welcome. Ow! You prick! You shot me in the tentacle! No problem. It will grow back. Listen, I forgive you, brother. Carrying around the burden of hate is worse for me than those I despise.
What on God's green earth is he saying? I don't know. Sound like some Tai Chi Chuan Fandango transvestite bullshit.
I don't know, I was thinking the exact same thing. See, I recognize some of the words, but the sentiments seem simplistic and, well, foreign, if you will.
I don't understand what anybody's saying. I just want to shoot.
Enemies out there, boys! The enemy's out there!
No! The enemy's inside.
Listen, guys, welcome! We've arranged a welcome party with a tequila slide. Good times! We'll get started with massages from attractive she-aliens. Then, after hand release, we'll
You better stop trying to buy my men off with your women!
Ditto! Yeah, I hate women.
Oh, sorry. We mean no offense. Listen, we really need your help. We are a loving, peaceful race. Last menstrual moon cycle in...
The Cup Daddy and the Door returns in 2 weeks. You're on CNT. Do you ever fucking go to bed?
Think that'll get into her pants? No way. You need something classy. Super classy. Super Classy Touch Limo. Prestige can be purchased and even rented by the hour. Feel like a player or a rich executive who just got a bonus for laying off 10,000 employees. Get exotic. Our limos feature hot tubs, pool tables, pizza ovens, leopard skin, firing ranges, flat surfaces for laying out rails, and jungle swings all on wheels. Super classy.
Equals peace of mind.
Weasel Wednesdays heat up next season with Vacation Home Sluts. Don't miss it on Weasel. All next week, it's patriotism at its finest as Weasel revisits history with the non-stop terror marathon. Back-to-back docudramas blaming liberals for everything. Only on Weasel.
Things wouldn't be quiet for long.
Pretty soon, the residents of Liberty City began to fight with the British over taxes.
Americans felt, and well, rightly so, that they shouldn't have to pay any taxes. Let the markets sort it out. Poor people will die, rich people will win. Welcome to progress.
And so began the American Revolution. A bloody battle by men and women who wanted to leave the tyranny of England's tax structure that paid for burdensome health care and unnecessary public education.
This was a war agitated by a number of musket companies who knew they would win whatever the outcome.
And of course you can still see that rich tradition today. Americans don't want health care or education. No, we want guns and fireworks shows and wars so politicians can invest in armament companies and clean up. And of course we want drugs.
Oh, yes, lots of those. Strong ones you take with young co-eds when discussing their thesis and then begin to rub their thighs while they say, "Didn't I hear you on that documentary?" And you whisper to them until they pass out. But I digress.
Hello everyone, welcome back to GTA 4. That was a little bit of an extended cold open to the video, if you will. I wanted to just show off some of the TV, because I showed a little bit of that a good long while ago in the LP, and it's neat, it's funny, they're silly shows, and I have sorry, I just dropped something on the ground. I have something to say about them, but I want to show this cutscene first. But yeah, it's neat because you get into the, you know, the world a little bit, the sort of satire world of GTA. I'll fucking talk about it. Watch the cutscene.
Shit. I'm really starting to Jones pretty bad.
How old are you?
Old enough.
No, I didn't mean like that. Ain't you got a home or something?
Ain't you got a life? Or do you always have to interfere in other people's?
I'm sorry. See you later.
Hey, mister, come back here. I'll fuck you for $5.
No! What's wrong with you?
I need junk. I need money.
You shouldn't be fucking strange man for money. I'll give you some money.
I need junk. More than money. I know a place where we can get some. Will you take me there, mister? Please?
Come on, then.
He's over on...
Alright, so, I'm not gonna talk much here either, but that was very lucky that that cop didn't get mad at me. But yeah, this is Marnie. As you can see, probably, this is a longer video than usual, and the reason for that is we have a lot of stuff to show. This is all the extra stuff that I've been talking about before we get into the real meat and cheese of the ending of this game, which will be coming very shortly. So we're doing all the random encounters, there are only a few left, and then also all of the most wanted missions. I said I would maybe only show a couple, but there's 10 of them. They take like 20 seconds, most of them, and they weren't too hard, so I figured why the fuck not, just watch them.
Yeah, well, I'm happy where I am. I was, at least. When my habit was 5 bags a day, I could survive off panhandling.
If you can't get the money together, then maybe you should cut back on your habits.
I can get the money together. It just takes a little improvisation, like finding you in the park. I knew you'd help me.
How's that?
I don't know. Something in your eyes. You look like you've got a good heart.
I don't know about that.
You do. Most guys would have fucked me and left me by the side of the road already. You're nice. What's your name?
Nico Bellic.
Nice to meet you, Nico. I'm Marnie. Man, I'm jonesing. Hard. It's been too long. Fuck.
This shit is uncontrollable. Think about going to a clinic.
Turn into some methadone zombie? I don't think so. I quit. I do it cold turkey by myself. Not that I want to quit. I'm having too much fun.
You seem to be having a great time.
So yeah, we're gonna do all the random encounters, as I said, and they're cool. I like them, you know, now that I've done all of them. I actually had never done all of them. I usually, you know, there are some that I do all the time just because they're on my way to stuff or because I feel like it, but this is the first time I've ever had to actually, like, go out in pursuit of them. And yeah, I just used a guide and found where they are. It's weird because some of them only come up at certain times of day, and the description of where they are is a little vague sometimes. I wish there was somewhere that just had, like, an image of where they are on the map that I could use my eyes for, and not like, oh, it's off, you know, Shit Tits Street, like I ever fucking noticed that, or, you know where that would be. Anyway, but I managed to find them after a while. But what you're seeing here, this video here, already being, 40 minutes long, is a compendium of probably like 2.5 or 3 hours of gameplay, because there was all the searching and whatnot, and then you go around and all this money is left here, I believe, from when we had the big shootout with the boys, for was it Jimmy who ordered the hit here? Something like that. And yeah, I just decided wanted to find out what deal with this is. There's this guy here, doesn't seem to be all that concerned with what's going on. I don't know what he's waiting for. I guess he's waiting to be helped at this car dealership, and he's not really gonna get it. And yeah, my other car was smoking, so just figured I'd get a new car. I don't know why I bothered showing this. I guess it was just funny. And yeah, I mostly just wanted to get out of this car so I could... I mostly just wanted to get in the car so I could move it so I could get the money. But then, hey, free car. And then make every single car alarm go off. So here we have, who do we have? I'm not gonna, stop for all of these, because some of these aren't terribly interesting. I guess this guy is worth saying something about. This is Eddie Lowe, and you'll figure out his deal pretty quickly, but probably the creepiest and most fucked up character in at least this game, but, I mean... GTA has a lot of sociopaths in its stories, and I mean, this guy isn't even in the story, he's just a fucking dude, but, that you can find. But yeah, he's certainly one of the most unsettling characters in any GTA game that I've played.
Fortunate end, though. But I suppose we all do. In the end. Okay. Wait, mister. Do you ever wonder if animals can masturbate? Okay, listen, friend, you're really creeping me out. No, it's a silly question. I know, silly question. It's just I was wondering, because maybe that's what makes us different from the animals. I mean, masturbating, because it turns out we don't have souls. And animals use tools and all that kind of thing. So maybe it's the masturbating. Maybe that's God's real gift to us. Okay, I'd really like to get back to planet Earth, so maybe I'll... No, wait a minute, mister. I'm sorry. I'm strange. I'm a weird guy. I know. Hey, do you have a car? Can you get one? Why? Because I have this rather heavy bag, and I really need a lift. I can pay you.
I wonder what could be in that bag.
I'm Eddie, by the way. Eddie Lowe. Yes, fine. Come on. Hey, friend, this bag is awful heavy. You mind taking us down to the docks?
So yeah, Nico for some reason decides to let this creep ass in his car after he talks about animals masturbating and having a heavy bag. I don't even know if I really feel the need to be like beat around the bush about what Eddie's deal is. I think you can probably tell, and there's only one more encounter with him and you're gonna see it in like 15 minutes. So yeah, he's a fucking serial killer. Everything that you are thinking and feeling about him from that cutscene is correct completely. It's not really super surprising. I don't really know the point of him being in this game. Like, I guess there doesn't have to be one. It's not like I need there to be like a narrative purpose, like, exactly. But just yeah, he's just going on this little rant here. I'm not gonna listen to it. Yeah, I don't know, it's fucking like, I don't need there to be a real like narrative purpose or whatever, like a higher purpose, but just like, everything that's in the game is like a choice, and GTA has a certain sort of narrative conceit about the world that it takes place in. Oh yeah, here he's gonna dump it into, I guess it's water. It looks like the gelatinous gel stuff from is it Disney Magic Artist 3D? It was a PC game that had like a Mickey Mouse made of this like gelatinous goop. Or maybe I'm thinking of something else. It was some Disney game that I played as a kid, and I believe it was on PC. But I've looked up Disney Magic Artist like gameplay, and maybe it was just like the opening or something. But the gameplay is nothing like that. I remember that game too. Like I remember the stuff in those videos, but I don't fucking know. Yeah, he says he likes boys and he likes girls too. They're fun in different ways. Yeah. Yeah, it's really unsubtle. But yeah, so like GTA, like Marnie, for instance. I can understand why, if you want to have these random encounter people, which I think, like I say, I like them, and I think they're a cool idea, and most GTA games have something like them. In GTA 5, they're called Strangers and Freaks, and that one's cool, but I kind of like how this game handles it a little bit better. Although I think it's nice that 5 has you do more interesting things with them, like instead of just, hey, can you give me a ride? I think that's more realistic, but in 5, it's stuff like, can you ride on the back of my bike and like take pictures of celebrities that we're chasing, or, whatever. So, I don't know. And here's our good friend Pathos again, who I've talked over completely pretty much every time that we've seen him. I believe this is the last time that we'll be seeing him. Not in an he dies way, but just it's the last encounter. But yeah, like, I can understand why Marnie, if you're gonna have these random encounter characters and stuff, I can see why you'd include a character like Marnie, because her, I don't know, her position is like a believable one in the world that the game's story is trying to portray. Nico's, it's a really, the reason that I like Marnie and she's my favorite of the random encounters is that she, it's a really like uniquely tender moment, especially in the next time that we're gonna see her and the aftermath of it. It's a uniquely tender moment in this game where Nico is just like genuinely concerned and helpful to someone in need, and it like works. Spoilers. It like, because everything else in this game is like he has concern for them, but it's kind of a begrudging one, like he's annoyed with them or whatever. Most of the people in this game who are like addicts or whatever, he has, sympathy for their plight and knows like that it is an addiction that is afflicting them, but also is like kind of annoyed with them for letting it happen. And I guess there's a bit of that with Marnie, but I don't know, it's just a little bit different. And I don't know, it's just a nice moment. It adds some layers to Nico in a way, to me. And the best random encounter ones are the ones like that, where it's, Nico interacting with someone very different. And are you okay, dude? Where'd you go? He just ran into the side of my car like 15 times and then fell over and disappeared. Which I guess means he's okay. Or maybe he just, he went to another ethereal plane. And yeah, I just got the achievement No More Strangers because I have now met everybody. Here's this really annoying woman. One of the least interesting of them.
Got what?
Time was, I would walk down this street and I'd feel the eyes popping out of a guy like yours head. I was H.O.T. But now, I'm not so sure.
Okay, you're really attractive. Can I go now?
Bullshit, limp dick. I'm not really attractive. I'm stunning.
It's always really funny when, like, older video game characters, like older video game women, have to be, like, are talking about being attractive or whatever. And it's always really weird because, like, pretty much every character in this game looks ugly. Like, like, you can understand which characters are meant to be, like, the attractive ones and which ones aren't, but they all look kind of weird and fugly just because of the nature of, like, how they're rendered and everything. And, you know, they're all very, like, fat and not fat, like, weight-wise, but they're very chunky looking. You know, you've seen the fucking game. You're looking at it. You know what I'm talking about. So it's just very funny. Now we've gotten to the point of computer rendering in video games where you can have, like, a genuinely, you know, a realistic looking rendering of a person, of a human woman or man, who actually I could imagine someone being attracted to. But what the fuck do I know? Because, I mean, people were jerking off to Lara Croft's, you know, conical boobies, as Diabetes put it, in 1996, whenever that game came out. I really want to get into the Tomb Raider games, by the way. They seem like they would scratch an itch of mine, but I mean, just fucking add that to the list of, like, 400 games that I want to try at some point. I mean, I own Tomb Raider 4 for the PS1. I played it for about 10 seconds. I don't know why I bought it. It was like $2 on Amazon, and I bought it like 10 years ago. And I did not play it very much. I'm very bad at it. The controls are very weird. But whatever. So yeah, this lady basically just, like, is annoying and tells you that she cheats on her husband all the time. And then, yeah, tells her husband that she's been cheating on him with you, and then you just get to beat the shit out of this guy for no reason. You get to win the fight against the man for cucking his woman, or for cucking him with his woman, and you don't even have to cuck him. You don't even have to have his wife cheat on you. This is the kind of power fantasy that video games offer young men today. I mean, the funny thing is that's, like, a little true, but it's also, I'm being silly. So here's Eddie Lowe again. I'll let his cutscene go because it's disturbing enough to be noteworthy, but don't worry, there will be a pleasant ending to this.
The animal masturbator. You and your wicked sense of humor. You're quite naughty. Quite naughty. Whatever. Quite naughty.
If he weren't so fucking creepy and weird, he'd be very funny.
Excuse me? No, nothing silly. I'm just being silly. Silly little Billy, that's me. I like it, though. I like to get spanked.
Fuck off. You're creeping me out.
No, I don't want to make you angry, Nico. I don't want to be creepy. It's just my way.
Well, your way is not cool.
Not cool? You say Eddie's not cool? I don't fit in with the in crowd? No, Mrs. Smith. Eddie's taken your star son, your prized little quarterback, and fucked him in the ass. And then tied him up, strangled him into knots. And your daughter? Your pretty little daughter, Mrs. Abraham? And he's ripped out her intestines just to see if he could feel anything. And you know what? He couldn't. Yeah, he couldn't.
You should get laid or something.
Oh, I just did. A little jogger down by the water. But you know what, handsome? I got a hunger tonight that can't be sated. Come here! Huh.
So yeah, he just goes sicko mode, and now, yeah, just cap him, miss about 5 times. He has a lot of health. It takes like 4 shots to the fucking noggin. I don't know if he has some sort of, like, bulletproof casing in his skull or whatever, but yeah, I'm gonna take his knife. Nice little keepsake. And now we have rid Liberty City of one of its most prolific serial killers. You're welcome. So this is what the cops are busy doing. They're busy just running people with Ushanka hats over because they're racist. Before we get to the good random encounter, the last one, which is Marnie, who I deliberately saved for last. This one is really boring. This lady gets mad at you. She was drunk at night. You can read the fucking subtitles if you're interested in this. But I mentioned last time I was talking about, like enjoying violence in video games and all that shit, and I said that I had a point to make about Last of Us Part 2, which I mentioned earlier in another video because people, well, for one thing, related to the whole people being attracted to computer-generated women in video games thing that I was mentioning earlier in this video. The one thing that people are mad about with Last of Us Part 2 is apparently that the main character is unrealistic looking because she is a woman with muscles, and I don't really have anything to add to the discourse around that idea. I think most people have probably made any point that I could make about why that is stupid. I think it really just comes down to, I think that subsection of gamers, which I want to pretend is just a vocal minority, but I really don't have any way of knowing. I'm just going to assume that they've never actually seen a woman, or maybe even another person in their life, or certainly not in a long time. Because they seem to have these very weird ideas of what people look like, and I don't know why. Maybe it's just, when you inundate yourself with exclusively, like, drawn and computer-generated images of human beings rather than actual people for long enough, maybe you literally just start to forget what human beings look like. But I don't know, that seems like a stretch, because they use the internet, and I'm sure that they leave the house sometimes to, like, go buy Mountain Dew or whatever. So I don't understand. But anyway, the other thing that people are mad about with Last of Us Part 2 is that it's a game that it's narratively is about, violence, and, in a way, like, makes you feel bad for doing violence in the game with, what happens in the game, the morality of the story of the game, and everything. But it also makes it mandatory, and from what I can tell from watching people play it, the gruesomeness and the, like, creative brutality of the killing in the game, which, in the game, it's not only very necessary in the game, which, I mean, this is the violence that is supposedly the brutality and the graphicness of it is supposed to highlight, oh yeah, fuck limos. I flip over a number of limos here. I don't know why there were so many, but, smash the bourgeoisie, whatever. It's the dumbest fucking joke I could possibly make. But the brutality of the killing is narratively supposed to be, like, repulsing to you and making you think about consequences of what you're doing in the game. But the gruesomeness and the creative brutality of the killing also seems to be what makes the game fun and, like, enjoyable, and it encourages it, and it's, very much, again, necessary for the game. And the narrative is constructed in a way that makes you confront that brutality and, like, shames the player for it, but also making it easy, enjoyable, and necessary to take the immoral route. And I think this gets really well at what I've talked about with, like, ludonarrative dissonance, with the chasm, the problematic nature of how a game's gameplay and its story interact with each other. And I would compare it with something like another game that I've mentioned numerous times, Spec Ops: The Line, and the use of white phosphorus in that game, which has you go through the motions. That game has you go through the motions of, like, a normal war-themed first-person shooter, but it makes the player question their instincts of what is fun and enjoyable about those types of games by what happens in the story. The player choices don't really affect gameplay in that game. The team who made the game say that they feared that players would see them as part of the game rather than complex moral decisions that they take active part in a story, if they did make it that way. And I think that's actually pretty perceptive, and I think it's a good way of a game using the medium to make players question the morality of their actions in a game. I mean, it seems that, with a lot of gamers, it wasn't very effective. They didn't really catch on. And I think it's just because that game has been sort of praised and then subsumed into the greater consciousness as another war-themed first-person shooter that's fun because it's a war-themed first-person shooter and not really much more than that. But I think it is a good way of using the medium for that purpose, by using the gameplay to frame the moral choices left to the player as meaningful choices with consequences, and removing the context of it being like a simulation that the player is navigating toward an objective, because that is something with game, that is the sort of, for lack of a better word, dehumanizing effect of video games. Obviously, the people you're interacting with in the game aren't people, that's why I don't think it's immoral to play them. But it can, if you can only perceive of these things as, without any other context, and you only perceive of them as, this is a system of rules and circumstances which you navigate to your end, like to some sort of end, rather than, like, the choices you make in the context that the game presents them to you in, they are choices that, the game has set up consequences for you, and, and they are worth thinking about. Just engagement with the medium on any level deeper than just the sensory engagement, which I think one of the reasons with video games it's so difficult and uncommon for a lot of people to have that sort of critical engagement with games is because the interactivity of games makes the sensory part of them so to the forefront, even more so than other mediums, and makes it hard to divorce yourself from that, because its formal elements are so made to be like sensual and nice. Anyway, I talked over this whole fucking thing, but yeah.
Cash, Marnie. Look after yourself.
I'll try, Nico. Thanks. I was right. You are sweet.
Oh, I don't know why they keep fucking doing that. They've done that with every car that I've had, and I've never seen it happen in this game before that. Maybe a couple times, but not every single time that someone gets out of my car. It's very strange. But yeah, I probably should have saved that whole rant for not during the Marnie part, because I think that whole cutscene is really interesting and sweet, but you can go back and look at the subtitles if you're interested. We will be hearing from Marnie again later on. I don't know if it's in this video, I think it's in the next one, but we will be hearing what happens to her after she leaves the city. But yeah, it's just an uncommonly nice little story in this game. It's pretty inconsequential, it's completely optional, it's very short and simple, but I don't know, I like it for that. Anyway, so I am now stealing a cop car, because that is how you do the most wanted missions, and the most reliable way to steal a cop car is just call the cop there and then steal their car while they're wandering around wondering where the donuts are. And like I said, a lot of them don't really require a whole lot of explanation. They're pretty self-explanatory, and what you see is what you get. You access the police computer, there's a list of the 10 most wanted criminals, and you just put their location on your map, and you go fucking kill them, and then that's the thing. And it's part of the 100% completion. I also did 2 of the Little Jacob drug delivery missions, and I was thinking about showing all of those as well, but I didn't want to make a whole other video of just extra stuff, and I didn't want to make this video even longer, because most of them, they're like 85% just driving, but, some of them you may have to shoot someone or whatever. There's, I believe, 10 of them. I don't think it's really worth showing on screen, honestly. They are a thing. I did them. I don't really feel the need to include them. Like I said, I am interested in maybe pursuing a 100% run on this file after I finish the LP, but most of the stuff that I have to do, I cannot imagine being super interesting to watch in an LP, as insofar as I would not have anything to say over it. It would just be like hours of me talking about other shit, and nothing on screen would be of any use or consequence, and I just don't really see the need in padding the LP out any longer to accommodate for that. Anyway, this is kind of one of the bigger deals of the Most Wanted, because you gotta kill a few guys. And I tried to do the sniper rifle game, but they disperse pretty quickly. So yeah, I had to cut around a little bit here so that we don't waste too much time. But yeah, so I think I made my point earlier. That's really all I have to say right now about the whole Last of Us Part 2 thing. I mentioned ludonarrative dissonance as being what I recently found out is the actual term for that phenomenon of a game's gameplay having conflict with its story. And I actually found the article by the, it's some sort of, video game critic, culture writer of some sort, someone involved in the industry in some way. And I know his first name is Clint. I forget his last name. I didn't really prepare for this. But I read his article where he coins that term. The article is about BioShock. First of all, I think it's a very perceptive critique of BioShock. And I also think it, there's a section in it, maybe I'll link it in the description so you can read it. There's a little part in it where a couple parts actually, where he specifies, this is not a review of the video game. I need to be clear that this is not, necessarily a reflection on, the quality I perceive in this game, or whether or not it's fun. But he's like, but I think that there is still a dearth of critique of video games. There's a lot of reviews of video games, reviews being, this is what the game is about, this is how it feels to play, this is kind of experientially what you're getting, usually in the context of, to help you decide whether or not you want to get it, which have their place, but there's very little actual critique of video games where, engagement with the material's form as well as its content and thinking about, what these things mean. A practice that has, that every other popular medium so far is subjected to and has a fair amount of, academic, thought around it in that way. That was a great shot there. But video games, for reasons that I've suggested earlier, have kind of eluded that for the most part. And I think that's almost as true today as it was in 2008 when he wrote it. But yeah, so it's kind of a multi-pronged essay where he also mentions, the lack of critique of video games, lack of serious critique, and how this, ludonarrative dissonance to him is kind of a central feature of a lot of popular video games. And I almost fucked myself here, but managed to get myself out. Was trying to just ram them, and I'm sure you could if you were quicker than me, but that's just as easy, obviously. I don't remember what I was saying, and that guy just got fucked with a mailbox. That's pretty funny. I love smashing into stuff in this game. It's one of the best parts of the whole game, for sure. Juan Jaimo. I hate that some of these, one of them is for a hit and run, another one is for drug trafficking. I mean, I guess drug trafficking would make sense for being on the most wanted list, but a hit and run? Really? Who do you hit and run? The fucking president? Top 10 most wanted criminals, and he just, hit a guy with a car? And I think that's one of the guy who, is covered by, 9 dudes when you go see him. Wow, you were running a hit and run enterprise this whole time? That's pretty whack. Anyway. But yeah, to him, ludonarrative dissonance seems to be a pretty central feature of a lot of games, a central thing that we can critique and we can look at more deeply in video games, and I agree. So I don't know. I just think I think the article's interesting. Like I said, I'll try to find it again and I'll link it. And I'm hoping to look even deeper into this stuff because there is so little real critique and critical analysis of video games as a medium in the mainstream that you kind of have to go, and most of them are within certain disciplines. I admire the the goals and the existence of Feminist Frequency and Anita Sarkeesian and people like that, because I think I think one of the reasons, I've talked about this before, but I think one of the reasons that there was so much backlash against people like her is because it really was the first time that a lot of people, mostly young men, had, confronted, video games as like a medium that have, complex semiotics like every other medium that we could actually think about more deeply than just, haha, shooty gun fun time. Which, I love shooty gun fun time in games. It's great, but, we can do more than that, I think. Also, yeah, I love this. I'm trying to bust these dudes, and the cops are actively inhibiting it, so I have to shoot the cops so I don't fucking die before I can shoot all these people. Like, hey, I got it under fucking control. I wiped out 8 out of 10 of your guys' most wanted list in, like, a night. I think I know what I'm doing. But yeah. But anyway, I hope to look more. But what am I fucking saying? I'm starting like 19 thoughts at once, as always. But I think one of the reasons there was a lot of backlash for them is because it was one of the first times that gamers were really confronted with that reality. And yeah, hilarious. The police just stop the moment that you do it, and here's me trying my best not to get a wanted level again, just for touching the cops, so I can get out of here faster than 0 miles per hour. I probably could have jumped that railing before they got there, but whatever. I'm just gonna walk past them. It doesn't matter. Like I said, I've done more crime fighting today than they ever have, so whatever. And I'm just gonna take their car because mine's all smashed up, and I like this one better. And what are they gonna fucking do? Arrest me? That part looks really nice. It's sometimes during the day when it's golden, this game looks really pretty. And yeah, just one left. Fish Market South. Anywho, yeah, but I hope that I can learn more about, find more stuff like that, because the thing with Feminist Frequency is that I like it as video game critique, but I would like video game critique that goes beyond, feminist critique, because I think that can only go so far. Materialist critique, stuff like that is something that I'm really interested in. And I want to learn more about, that critique in that way of just things in general, not just video games. But I think it would be interesting to have new thoughts about video games as a medium and shit. Anyway, I'm going to stop fucking talking. That's all the Most Wanted missions and extra shit. Next time, we're doing more story stuff. We're wrapping this shit up this week. So I'll see you then for that.